woman just because she took a bite of her boyfriend's instant noodles. She had a breakup. The boyfriend saw her take a big bite of his instant noodles and reached out to try to stop her. They started to fight over a mouthful of noodles. When the soup splashed on her face, she felt a hot pain, but her boyfriend suddenly started to blame her. He can't stand her behavior. She was yelled at by her boyfriend in a strange way. He took a big bite like a crocodile and dumped the rest of the noodles. She didn't understand why he was so mean. Obviously, she even paid the $800 for the noodles. Why was he so sarcastic when she just ate one more bite of instant noodles? Afterwards, he even started to rehash his old scores, accusing her of stealing his food every time. At this moment, she realized that her boyfriend never cared about her feelings. She stood up coldly and walked back to her room in silence. This is the 10th year of their relationship. To that casual observer, Mary is the perfect example of a girlfriend. Over the past 10 years, her boyfriend Jack has been obsessed with the test. Unfortunately, he's lost the exams time and again. Years of losing didn't make him more and more courageous, but his ability to be shameless got stronger and stronger. He has no job and no income. Mary pays for all his expenses. Mary does all the housework. He was like a parasite on Mary, feeding off her. But even so, Mary stayed by his side all the time. In order to marry Jack, she gave up her dream of becoming a painter and became a real estate agent, because that's the only way she could afford to pay for their living expenses. Looking at the newlyweds in front of her, Mary felt lost. At the class reunion at night, the other students were well dressed and talked well. Jack was unkempt and unkempt. He doesn't realize that a college reunion is essentially a stage for show-offs. Even when confronted with his classmates' sarcasm, he just plays dumb and takes it. Mary asked him if he couldn't stand Jack anymore. Mary said Jack has been working very hard to prepare for the exams. Jack said without embarrassment that it was all because the exams were too hard. In fact, Mary has nothing else to ask for but for her boyfriend to work hard for their future. Mary said to him, "I'll take care of the money-making and family matters, and you prepare for the exams more seriously in the future." Okay, people always say that if you love someone, you have to tolerate everything about them. Mary has been tolerating him for 10 years. Until this day, just because she ate a little more instant noodles, Jack pushed her head away. This bite of instant noodles became the trigger for Mary to break up. And what happened after that strengthened her determination to break up? After seeing off her clients, Mary met her teacher downstairs. He asked her how she was doing and whether she had started her own exhibition. Mary was stumped and didn't know how to answer, so she told her teacher that she had a better life now. The teacher was surprised. In his mind, Mary was his favorite student. Mary was supposed to have a career in the arts. Why did she choose to give up her dream? In fact, Mary didn't understand why her life, which should have been brilliant, had turned into what it was now. But when she got home, everything was answered. The man who said he was studying for his exams in the library was now playing games at home with his friends. Mary couldn't hold back any longer. Mary even gave up her dream for him. She questioned why he couldn't prepare for the exam seriously. She has done so much hard work for the two of us to get married, but he is so unmotivated. How can he live up to her? She said that she was not her mother and that she had to do everything for him. Mary finally couldn't stand him anymore and told him to pack up and get out of the house. She didn't want to support him anymore. Years of failing to prepare for exams had long since worn out the spirit of the man in front of her. Mary couldn't see any future in Jack. At first, Jack didn't think it was a big deal because they'd had countless arguments like this in the 10 years they'd been dating. But when he came home with Mary's favorite potted plant, he realized that Mary was serious this time. All his stuff was thrown out the door and he couldn't knock on the front door. After 10 years of love, they didn't even see each other for the last time and just went their separate ways. In fact, Mary wasn't very determined to break up at first. She waited for Jack to realize his mistake and expected Jack to take action to win her back. But slowly Mary realized that her life was getting better and better after she left her boyfriend who had failed the examination. Her career is flourishing, and in her spare time, she can have a drink with her friends. Compared to the 10 years she spent with Jack, she finally has her own life. She got more opportunities and met a better man. He was Mary's client. When they first met, he thoughtfully brought Mary a glass of her favorite iced Americano. Not only does he have a clear life plan, he has a sense of boundaries and makes Mary feel at home. Although his appearance is not outstanding, he is a good marriage partner. For men and women over 30, heart thumping is no longer a necessity, and being on the same wavelength is the right criterion for choosing a spouse. Unlike Mary, who is making great strides in her life, Jack is still hesitating after the breakup. He seems to have given up his dream of becoming an editor and has taken up odd jobs in a friend's shop. He doesn't have any idea of how to get ahead. He just feels that his life is more comfortable without his nagging girlfriend. However, such an old man who does not want to make progress has no attraction to his peers, but it makes a young girl in her 20s, who is not familiar with the world, curious. She walks into the shop, which is still open. The young girl, who has not been beaten up by the society, will find such a clumsy uncle very cute, and will even boldly want to fall in love with him without asking about the future. She boldly confesses to him that she doesn't care what her boyfriend does for a living. She wants to not feel pressurized, just because she has to support another person, as long as they're happy together. But she had one caveat, and that was that if he cheated on her, that would be the end of their relationship. And that defiant impulse gave Jack the illusion that this was what love was like in the beginning. He saw Mary and the girl when she was in college. At that time, they were also like this, regardless of the consequences, not asking about the future. In the following months, Jack spent his youth with his young girlfriend, which can no longer be called youth. Mary, on the other hand, seemed to have entered a new phase of her life. Her new boyfriend takes her to all kinds of exhibitions and helps her to revive her youthful dreams. But a relationship that comes too soon is bound to go too soon. On this day, Mary's best friend told Mary that she was speechless. When she was picking up her daughter from kindergarten, she accidentally met a man who looked like her boyfriend. The family seemed to be very friendly. Mary refused to believe it and insisted that her boyfriend was just picking up the kids for his brother. But her best friend, who doesn't want to see her fall into the abyss again, brings Mary to the kindergarten. Mary was not surprised to see the man's family in harmony. The man was a bit surprised to see Mary, but soon changed his look to one of impatience. He blamed Mary and said that he was not with anyone at the moment. Mary is completely disappointed in him. He wanted to continue to argue that he was preparing to divorce his wife and was just about to get the paper stamped. So he asked her to wait for him. At that moment, the man's wife appeared and asked her husband who the woman in front of her was. Mary told her to ask her husband. The three of them frowned in place in embarrassment. Mary then turned to leave, and the couple behind her began to argue. Love without the precipitation of time is mostly a castle in the air, unable to withstand the slightest breeze. Mary is not sure if she has ever been in love, but in the face of such a scene, turning away in style is certainly not a wrong choice. Compared to Mary's first third party, Jack's experience is undoubtedly much more comfortable. After the freshness of his love, the conflicts between him and his young girlfriend are slowly exposed. She doesn't have a job and doesn't do housework. She relied on Jack's meager income for all her daily expenses. Looking at the unwashed dishes at home, he finally realized what Mary was going through and how bad he was at that time. Jack received an unexpected call from Mary at noon that day. This is the first time Mary has contacted him since they broke up. Although Mary only wanted Jack to send the computer back to her, Jack subconsciously chose to lie to his girlfriend. When she asked him who was calling, he lied and said it was just a friend. Now Mary has quit her job and picked up her dream of painting again, but Jack still hasn't made much progress. The two of them talked about each other's recent situation, and they got to the point where they broke up. In fact, the reason for their breakup was simple. They were tired of not seeing the future. This meeting is not so much a reminiscence of the past, as is a formal farewell to the past 10 years. Although they said they would keep in touch in the future. But after they left, they both deleted each other's contact information and decided to live their own lives. When Jack returned home, he found the house empty. When they first got together, they made a promise not to lie to each other as a bottom line. Her girlfriend knew Jack had lied, so she decided to leave in style. The question she deliberately asked Jack before he left the house was the only chance he had left for Jack. Jack finally learned to face reality. He no longer insisted on unrealistic dreams and found a decent job. They met again 1 year later. Jack saw Mary's exhibition when he was passing by the street corner. Now without the burden of so-called love, she had finally realized her dream. Jack didn't choose to go in. He just waved to her downstairs. When they met, Mary was stunned for a moment, but she quickly turned around and went back to her own world. Jack also did not grieve, just in the bottom of the heart silently leave a blessing, and then turned to step into the sea of people. The two said goodbye to the past. This is a very plain story, so plain that it's like a mirror that secretly reflects our lives. We can't see the end of a film story in the end, the story of life. However, only time knows the answer. Instead of being a love film, it's more of an exhortation to work hard in time under the guise of love. We've all had moments of regret. We've all asked ourselves if we work hard enough, if we'd done enough, if everything would have been different. I'm a BullDog movie. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.